Hello, everybody. It's me, Fee, White Zulu, and I want to welcome you to another chapter of, another chapter of Okavango Diary. And I hope you're enjoying these readings. I want to welcome you all. And if you are enjoying them, please share or press the like button or whatever people do if they want to. I'm sorry, I'm a bit Diomaka today. I haven't got any words in front of me to read, so I'm doing this off the cuff. However, this is a greeting to you all and a welcome, and I hope that you enjoy these chapters that I'm reading out. They go out twice a week, Wednesdays and Saturdays, if all goes well. And enjoy them, and thank you so much for listening to them. Share them around. Thank you and goodbye.
10th of August. We have a large group of Japanese guests staying right now. There are 10 of them, but only the guide speaks any English. Keira has asked me to help her with orientation, which I often do if it's a large group coming in all at once. This means taking them to their accommodation and showing them around, warning them not to drink out of the taps, and that there is iced potable water provided for them in the thermos jug. They are never to leave anything like shoes, books, or binoculars outside their rooms at night, as the hyenas would take them. Also, they have to be extremely careful and close the sliding doors whenever they leave their rooms in the daytime, in case the baboons get in and trash their rooms, or at night time when the hyenas would get in and quite possibly drag them out and eat the guests, as has happened to campers in the Moremi Game Reserve. Advice like that. The final and most important warning. Sorry, folks, is that they are never to leave the perimeter of the camp day or night under any circumstances. There are elephants, lions, hyenas, and even a leopard now calling at night, all night. An elephant terrorizes the staff village for a change and gives us a rest. Talking of languages, at Tsaro, I had to learn the very basics of Tswana, and the first words I learned was Aikitsi, I don't know. Akuna, meaning none, from the expression Akuna Matata. This always applies to rations or ingredients having run out completely. I've told the staff expressly and repeatedly to warn me when we're getting low on any food or cleaning items. But when I hear Akuna, it frustrates me, because I then have to dash to the office, grab the radio, and call up my own head office to plead and beg for them to put whatever it is that we have run out of on the next plane coming up. I get told off for that, and it's no good blaming the staff, as I'm responsible for their errors. Excuse me. So I have to just sit there and take a beating. There are other commonly used Tswana words too. It's broken, it's lost, it's gone, among others. The only words that are missing is ubalegila, it's run away, or ushonile, meaning it's dead, referring to livestock. Those Zulu words applied a lot on the cattle and sheep ranch where I grew up. Sorry, excuse me again. Sore throat. Monday, the 1st of August. We have Kate Turkington and her husband, Alan, staying for 2 nights. She's a well-known figure in literary circles in South Africa, and particularly as a presenter on television. She's also very approachable and delightful to talk to. Kate and I are good friends already, and she's asked me to stay in Johannesburg with them whenever I'm coming back to South Africa. She just loves my letters home when I give her a couple of copies, and is writing a tour guide for Four-Door, Bruce Fordyce Publications, at the moment on game lodges and camps in Botswana. She and Alan have their own publishing company called TA Publications, and she's very interested in publishing my letters of camp, the real side. Excuse me. Wednesday, 12th of August. An elephant pulled up some water pipes last night and then stepped on the pump and crushed it flat for good measure, so there's no water. The 12 ball came up on golf whiskey and some rounds of number 6 shot, perfect, just to bounce off the elephant's hide, thick hide, peppering them enough to encourage the huge animals to move out of the camp. Now we can fire off a few shots at the baboons as well. Those bastards have crept into the camp early in the morning, pulled the swallows' nests off the wall under the thatched eaves of the office hut, and eaten most of the nestlings that the poor birds were busy feeding, as well as their eggs. The mailbox also came with the mail bag also came with a letter from my sister, dated 30th of July, a month later. It's lovely to get news from home. At this stage, I ought to give you a description of the office. It's a large thatched rondavel situated in the center of the camp. The rest of the public areas are a long dining room table outside on the bank, overlooking the waters of the delta. And there's an open thatched bar next to it with a similar view, and a shop which sells curios. And, amongst other things, a lot of clothing with wildlife and the Kugana logo printed on it. I was amused at breakfast this morning when a small crocodile they called Blackie, approximately 3 feet long, came marching out of the water, up the bank and along the bare earthed area where the long dining room table is situated in fine weather. Apparently, this is his normal route to a log of a fallen tree, which juts over the lagoon right in front of the bar, where he likes to bask. It just happened that all the guests had sat down to eat their breakfast when he came purposely through. They just had time to jump to their feet and scurry away before he walked the length of the ground underneath the table to reappear under the white damask cloth on the other side and continue to his log. There's a hyena, or possibly several, which love to come at night, climb onto the bar and grab the optics, those devices attached to an inverted bottle for dispensing measured tots of liquor such as whiskey, gin, and such like. They choose the sweet, creamy liqueurs such as Amarula cream or Bailey's Irish cream, and crack the bottles with their strong teeth, allowing the liqueur to dribble out all over the bar counter, where they lick most of it up. Again, as we have to account for every milliliter of liquor which is flown up, like the drum, we have to lock those away as well. As the two camps are run on identical lines, I again commandeered the old computer and the smaller desk. The only drawback is that a swarm of bees have made a hive somewhere under the thatched eaves of the office. And as the windows in front of my desk are always open, bees come in and then get trapped between the glass and torn mosquito netting. Finally, they fall into the paper tray of the old dot matrix printer, and some into the open cavities of the printer itself. So when I do a print run, I have to pick the odd squashed bee off the paper with my fingers afterwards. It also makes everything sticky from their pollen and nectar. Now and again, I have to pry a dead bee out from underneath the keys of my keyboard using a paper clip. The sand around the camp is always neatly raked by a bushman of the Khoisan tribe. He's from the Kalahari and absolutely minute, even shorter than Mrs. Suzuki, with a very yellow, wizened face. Nobody can pronounce his name, which begins with a, so we call him Kenny. Everybody likes Kenny. He's always smiling and speaking in his strange language, which consists mainly of which nobody can understand. I notice that he constantly keeps a small patch of sandy red soil wet, using the hose pipe hanging coiled up against our office wall. This is to allow the many swallows which nest under the thatched eaves of the office to collect mud for their nests. On the weekends, or when Kenny is always away guiding, he's the very best tracker anyone could find. When he's guiding guests on a camping trip away from the lodge, using sign languages, I'm sorry, I've skipped a bit. Apologize for that. With sign language, he asked me to keep that patch wet for the swallows, so I do. One morning, while I'm scurrying from the office to the kitchen, Kenny calls me over to where he's been raking and shows me a very strange creature. It's a long pink blind worm, about a foot long and almost transparent. It blunders its way under Kenny's careful supervision, gently guided by his rake into safety in the shrubbery and far away from any of the Tswana staff, mistaking it for a snake. Fred runs the generator from midday until 10 o'clock in the evening to save fuel because it's rationed, and he has to account for every litre used. If he doesn't keep to the strict rationing, he gets a bollocking from head office. So he usually turns it off for 2 hours in the afternoon while the guests are having their siesta. The generator runs an irrigation system which waters the lawns and, of course, the trees, creating a lush green oasis on the island. Beyond our camp is mainly sand, in some places with a strange dusting of salt, and then bush. The white salt looks just like frost. It indicates that trillions of years ago, that whole delta area was under the sea. Occasionally, one of the guests, usually a young woman, sunbathes in a microscopic bikini on the lawn chairs provided for each Mesasa. Fred invariably finds work around those areas, checking on the irrigation and generally seeing to maintenance so that he can get a good look at the bikini-clad women. Wickedly, Keira and I stroll up to him very casually to ask him some innocuous question, just to see how furtive he looks and how quickly he scuttles away from the scene. After a fairly chilly start at Surrow, Fred and I have warmed to each other, and we are now good friends. The kitchen, too, has a lovely convivial atmosphere. The staff must have been very wary about my coming, especially as they were at the mercy of the BFH, the bitch from hell, the rest of the time. But Kutsi must have reassured them that Sisi is fair and never shouts or swears at the staff. Sorry. Lost my place again. Oh dear. Please bear with me, folks. So easy to lose your place. Getting there. Getting there. Morale in the kitchen is high. Sorry. The head cook at Kugana is a very slightly built, short, middle-aged woman called Gladys. She works like a Trojan and was an average cook, but now with so much help, advice and direction from Kutsi, she is in the same league. Morale in the kitchen is high, and as a result, the food is utterly delicious, and there's very little reason for me to interfere. We're still taking surreptitious peeks at the forms the guests fill in before leaving. And again, housekeeping, food and service all round are getting 5 stars. After opening up the laundry at exactly 7 in the morning to issue linen, towels, soap and other toiletries, I walk into the kitchen and go through the day's menu with them, issue them with all the ingredients they need, and then leave them to it with the radio on. It seems that Kutsi has already taught them the Macarena, because when I play the tape, they all dance it perfectly. Keira, who has been working as relief hostess for a couple of years now, can't believe the change in the staff's attitude. She loves to hear them singing their own songs in that beautiful African harmony, as do the guests, some of whom have recorded them from outside the kitchen window. Once I've seen to it that the kitchen is up and running and the guests have gone out, I do a round of the Mesasas.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for listening to my videos and my stories of my life. And I want to thank John Moslane for being what I call the sound engineer, but I'm sure there's a more professional word for it. However, faithful, and for 4 years now, I think, he has been here for me every Wednesday. Well, I think it's Wednesdays, but once a week to record 2 chapters of whichever book it is I'm reading. And without him, this couldn't be done. So a big thank you to John. Also, Sean van Vuren, we send the videos to him. Sorry, I'm not reading this. I'm just doing it off the cuff. And my brain is a bit tumaka. And Sean uploads them to the YouTube channel where you can find them all in playlists. He does it beautifully. And I want to thank them both for all the help that they give me. Well, it's not help. They do everything for me. And it's a great asset. So also, I have a website called whitezulubook.com, obviously www in front of it, but you'll find it there. Quite easy to find. Johnny Clegg's called The White Zulu. Mine's called White Zulu. And you will find on my website, you'll find all kinds of photographs going way back to when my ancestors settled in the Cape, 1652. Well, not photographs of them, but descriptions. This photograph of my grandmother's wedding, and lovely, lovely photos of the farm we still own. My sister sent me a photograph this morning of the farm in midsummer, and she says how beautiful it's looking. I've had a lot of rain. So, just want to thank my helpers, John and Sean, to thank you all for listening, and also please share this with everybody else. Hit the like button and enjoy. Goodbye.